Good morning, everyone. It's about 20 past 11 on Wednesday, 29th of April. I hope you're all doing well and staying well away from this darn bug. Uh, Bloomberg has just told me that the FTSE's up about 1% today, about 60 ticks. That takes above 6,000 again, and that's been one heck of a nice move over the last month. 1,000 points since the low plus. So what have we got on VectorVest, folks? Well, the short-term trend is up. Underlying trend is up, and that underlying trend has in fact been confirmed by price action. So 2 days ago, the longest term signal on VectorVest, called a confirmed up, was printed. That's a very good signal. Yesterday, the short-term trend lost a bit of strength, and today VectorVest advocates caution when buying stocks at this time. I think the Fed statement is today, and I would wait until the Fed statement is well out of the way to see what effect that has on the US market, and in fact let the pointer get back nicely into this green part of the traffic light. And the advice is that VectorVest advocates buying safe undervalued stocks that are rising in price at this time. So let's have a look at the VectorVest composite, and this is the composite, and as you can see, the buy-sell ratio has turned up a little bit. It's still in an oversold situation at 0.35, but much better than it was a couple of weeks ago. So a little bit more participation moving into this move. The MTI is above 1. That means the underlying trend is up, and the underlying trend upwards been confirmed by price action. That's the confirmed down on the 25th of February. This is the confirmed up on the 27th of April. As you can see, these confirmed signals need to be taken very seriously indeed. That was a signal, in fact, way back in October, which, although the general market didn't move much in that period, high VST stocks did exceptionally well in that period. So this is a signal that has to be taken seriously. I look at the technical position of the market when we actually get to the American market in a second. Now, many of you will know that I in fact started to accumulate positions more on a bottom fishing strategy when the DEW, which is a medium-term VectorVest market timing signal, in fact signaled a buy on the 7th or the 4th, and I even bought a few before that when the primary wave in fact turned up somewhere around about here, when the primary wave turned up way back here. So I've been adding to positions, and this was a very aggressive time. The DEW slightly less aggressive, a medium term signal, and now the longest term signal on VectorVest has kicked in. The breadth of the advance, especially in the US, causes me to worry. But my son in South Africa keeps telling me that I'm not happy unless I've got something to worry about. So I shall do my best to follow the signals. And if it's a good signal, great. If it's a not so good signal, then I'll get out and I'll lose 1% of my account on that particular trade. So many of the shares that I bought during the more aggressive period, which is past, I'm hoping, were actually worry-free type shares, in that they all had a high RS. Now, if I go to viewers, that's the shares that I've been holding. I bought one share yesterday, and that was Cranswick. When we got the confirmed up, I bought some Cranswick. As you can see, hasn't got particularly good RV, but it's got a really good RS, and the RT was good, and the CI exceptionally good at 1.34. It was on a buy recommendation, so I bought some Cranswick. That's really all I've done this week. So I'm holding Polymetal, which has had a great run. That's had the biggest move in the FTSE 100. Cranswick. Games Workshop had a cracking day yesterday, folks. GB Group's hanging in there. Avon Rubber had a good run early on. It's consolidating now. Lion Trust had a good day yesterday. I know many people keep emailing me that the spread on Lion Trust is wide, but the percentage moves are really good as well. Diploma's hanging in there. Berkeley's hanging in there. Crichton's hasn't done much, and JD Sports had an exceptionally good day yesterday. It's the only one that's still left on a sell recommendation. Remember, invariably, if you're bottom fishing, folks, you end up bottom fishing in shares with sell that's on a sell recommendation, and that's a little scary. That's why it's an aggressive strategy, and pretty much this is the only time I've ever tried it, so it's quite new to me. Although the gentleman who's championed it at VectorVest, Steve Chappell, that's his primary method of trading, and he's a very fine man. So that's what I've been doing. Many of these shares I'm underweight in, so rather than having to buy new shares for a worry-free type portfolio, I'll simply be adding some size to these. Okay, so let's have a look at the US market. And that's the US market. There's the home page, folks. Again, VectorVest advocates caution, a little pointer more in the green than in the UK. We've got a green light. We've got a black star in the green light. As you can see, the short-term trend has been up and down, and that's quite common in the days before a Fed announcement. The Fed announcement is this evening, and as you know, the Fed has got the clout to move markets and move markets strongly. The underlying trend is down. The MTI is still below 1, and we're on a confirmed down in the US. Okay, the advances very good yesterday. The declines about half that, and a few moments ago on Bloomberg, the S&P futures were in fact anticipating a slight upward move at the open this afternoon at 2:30. Should be a quiet day ahead of the Fed. Now, I think I've already loaded the composite, and that is the composite in the American market. I think yes, that's the composite in the American market, and as you can see, we've now made 5 waves up from the bottom. Now folks, that changes the technical picture significantly. If I put on the confirm calls, you see no confirm call here, and again, as you know, I've employed a more aggressive strategy based on the DEW market timing system to get into some positions, and I spoke about the search that I used for that. I'm holding, I think, 4 positions. That's all in the US. This has moved up in 5 waves, folks, and this is an Elliott-Titians would call this an impulse pattern, and only in the last couple of days it broke that high. So this is a bullish pattern. Now, what does this mean? It means that the technical position has changed significantly since I did this update last Friday, because this is a impulse wave. And what can easily happen here, folks, I think that we're going to get a pullback soon. I'm not sure when it is, but we're going to get a pullback soon here. And I feel that that pullback will be not that onerous. It actually won't take out these lows. And I think that we can quite easily move up after that again. And this, even under the most bearish circumstances, that this move up to sideways, even if it is a rally in a bear market, can quite easily hang around to October. So this impulsive wave, I believe, even under the most bearish circumstances, has in fact improved the case for the bulls, and that if we're going to get a run on the March lows, it could quite easily only happen in the second half of the year. Now that's pure supposition, but nevertheless this 5-wave pattern, this impulsive wave, is a very good sign. The MTI is starting, the buy-sell ratio is starting to come from the bottom. I think we're going to get a pullback relatively soon, and I'm hoping that that pullback won't be cause the UK, because the UK market will move back with it. That won't cause my UK positions too much harm. The positions that I'm holding in the American market, if I go to those, I go to viewers, watch list viewer, I have them loaded onto this watch list, and that's what I'm holding. And I particularly like the look of AMD, because if I pull up that chart, the gold shares have done exceptionally well. Microsoft off a bit yesterday. They were all off a little bit at the close yesterday, but if I load this chart of AMD, and there it is over the last 6 months. And if I get rid of the DPO, get rid of this, as you can see, we've got this, what many technicians would refer to as a huge cup and handle formation here. And if that's the case, and we get a breakout of this line, this bit should be repeated. Now, I'm already in this share based on the DEW, and I bought into the share somewhere about here, in the mid 47 odd. But if I got a couple of closes above that line and the general market is still positive, then I think that we can see a very strong move in AMD. Okay, so that's a share to keep your eye on. I think that Microsoft will pretty much do the same thing, but I really like that cup and handle that I'm seeing on AMD. Okay, so folks, if we have a look at the American market, and I go to the home page again, and I pull up the SPX, that you're probably more familiar with the numbers, and there's the SPX, folks. And again, let's go to a 6 month chart and get rid of all my lines, and there again we can see quite clearly this 5 wave advance. For those of you that are fib analysts, I know that not everybody is, but you can see yesterday that the highs of that particular move right pretty much on this 618 retracement. I think that this 5 wave up is very positive for the market. Nevertheless, after 5 waves, I would expect to see a pullback, and then probably another drift upwards into October. Okay, for those of you that Ellioticians of this rally, this is wave A, a pullback to wave B, and a run up to wave C, and then we'll make a decision, and that decision of course will be a function of what happens with this darn bug that's causing so much trouble, and we're living through a very, very strange time. I think it's really, really important, folks, to follow your trading plan, and to trade the market and not trade the forecast. Nevertheless, over the last couple of days, this fifth wave, this 5 wave up, has made me an awful lot more positive for the rest of the year. I shall trade the market, I assure you, and not the forecast. I hope that you found this helped in some way. Let's get the Fed well out of the way before committing to any big positions. Thanks very much indeed.